of Suzanne Morphew, the Colorado mom who vanished on Mother's Day in 2020. Her husband was initially accused until the charges were dropped. Now, 3 years later, officials say they've found her remains. Ariel Reshef is here with that story. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, Robin. Investigators say they've never given up the search for Suzanne. Their discovery cracking the cold case wide open, raising new questions about what happened to the Colorado mom and who is responsible. This morning, a major break in a cold case that gripped the headlines. Colorado authorities say they've located the remains of Suzanne Morphew, the mom who mysteriously disappeared 3 years ago on Mother's Day. Investigators say they made the discovery around 45 miles south of Morphew's home while they were working on an unrelated case, not revealing the exact location or state of the remains. The 49-year-old vanished after her family says she went for a bike ride in May of 2020. Body camera capturing the moment sheriff's deputies discovered her bike on the side of the road in a wooded area near the family home.
Hey, can you not touch the bike with your hands, please?
Her husband, Barry Morphew, was initially charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence, but those charges were dropped just before his trial. He and his daughters speaking exclusively to ABC News earlier this year. What have these last 3 years been like for you?
Just so traumatic. Like, literally, our worst nightmare.
Did you have anything to do with the disappearance of your wife?
Absolutely not. It's very hurtful to lose your reputation and your integrity.
Barry filing a $15 million civil suit against prosecutors and local law enforcement, saying he was unjustly targeted. But prosecutors at the time saying they didn't drop the charges because they believed Barry was innocent. They wanted time to gather more evidence, and they thought they were close to finding Suzanne's body. Authorities also previously telling ABC News Barry Morphew is still a suspect in his wife's disappearance, and they aren't ruling out future charges. Law enforcement, the DAs, believed that they had their guy, and they believe that there's a mountain of evidence against you. There's just not Suzanne's body.
They're wrong. They've got tunnel vision, and they looked at one person, and they've got too much pride to say they're wrong and look somewhere else.
These charges were dropped without prejudice, which means if authorities feel like there's more evidence, they could charge you again. Do you live with fear of that?
Well, I was innocent the first time they arrested me, so I'm sure it's possible. But I don't have anything to worry about. I've done nothing wrong.
And overnight, Barry Morphew's attorney telling ABC News after the discovery of Suzanne, Barry is with his daughters and they are struggling with immense shock and grief, adding they hope that authorities will quickly admit their wrongful persecution of Barry, an innocent man, to treat the Morphews like the victims they are and charge the persons responsible for Suzanne's killing. Law enforcement sources confirm Barry Morphew is still a suspect in his wife's death. Guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Ariel. And for more, let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. And Dan, could this discovery potentially change the case against Suzanne Morphew's husband, the case that was dismissed in 2022?
Absolutely. But the question is, which way does it change it? It could change it one way or the other based on exactly what they find. Now, remember, the authorities are being very tight-lipped here about exactly what they found and how they found it. And that's because they believe this could be a critical piece of evidence in connection with this investigation. Think about something like cell phone data, right, which becomes a very important potential piece of evidence. Where the body was found then becomes critical.
I know you want to make clear that double jeopardy is not a concern. He could be charged again, as you've been saying. Double jeopardy is not in play here.
Right. He could absolutely be charged again. But remember, there were problems with the prosecution's case. There were problems in terms of evidence that they weren't turning over, and there were other evidence that could potentially help his case. Those problems could still exist here if they decided to charge him again. So, yes, it's possible this could fundamentally change the case, but it doesn't necessarily start you from scratch. The issues that existed before potentially could exist again, but this is a critical finding.
The husband is actually suing prosecutors, civil case for $15 million. What's going on with that case?
Well, that case is, in theory, going to move forward. Remember, he's basically taken the position that I'm not just going to go away here. He's filed a lawsuit, which would lead to discovery, which would lead to both sides being able to get access to evidence, etc. So to some degree, regardless of what the authorities do, that civil lawsuit may move forward. And again, from his position, he may say, we think that the discovery of the remains could actually help our case. We shall see. This could be a game changer in terms of this investigation, one way or the other.
As you said, Dan, we shall see. Thank you so much.